The name of my business is Jenna's Nut-Free Dessertery Inc. And we offer a restaurant with an in-house bakery. We also have a market booth, and we're getting into the food processing industry with our Bannock mixes, our homemade vanilla sugar, hot cocoa mix, and mini marshmallows. We also have a few more items that we'll be adding in the next few months. Growing up, food was always a big part of our life, sitting down and eating as a family. My parents had a garden, so we had a lot of fresh vegetables and fruit that were always available to us. And that's something I carried on with my children. For me, it's really important that we eat naturally because nature gives us what we need. As long as we can find natural ways to preserve the foods, it's much better. We believe that we should let the food speak for itself. So we stick with those natural flavors in everything we do. We also use as much local as we can, so that way our food's always fresh. I love feeding people. I love giving people that opportunity to taste something that either brings them back to their childhood or gives them a new experience altogether. I started with a small business plan. It was not very in-depth, but I wanted to try to get everything on paper first. Then I was able to get into our local farmers market here, the Boys Farmers Market. So we started there first so I could test the viability of the business to see if there was any interest. Where we are in a niche market, being a completely nut-free facility and bakery, only 5% of the population has a nut allergy. So that's not a huge demographic. So we've kind of intertwined the free from nuts as well as the free from chemicals and free from preservatives to create a brand that people seem to love. And then we were able to move on from the market to our own brick and mortar location after we were able to establish that client base. I have faced a ton of challenges. I have gotten some very strange looks from people when I embarked on this journey altogether. Financing a business without having that personal huge investment that a lot of people do, or being able to rely on family or friends for an investment, that was also a massive challenge for me, but there are ways around it. It just takes a lot of extra work. Bureaucracy has also been a huge issue. You can have the best laid business plan, and there is always going to be something that pops up that you either didn't see, you didn't consider, or change in regulations, which can happen. You just kind of have to roll with it. Like, if you are going to start a business, you need to be able to roll with the punches. It is not for the faint of heart, but it is 100% worth it. I have a genetic disease that has thrown a few obstacles my way over the past 5 years. The biggest reward for me was proving to myself how capable I am. Now I am currently running a business myself. I do have employees, but I mean, the bulk of the work is done by me. And it's not something I necessarily would have thought I was capable of before until I actually put my whole heart into it. So I've built this business from the ground up, and I've spent countless hours working between the business plans or renovations or actually baking in the kitchen. So for me, the biggest reward is seeing that I am still capable of doing those things, and I'm still capable of grabbing back some of that independence that I lost. Be true to yourself. Do not try to be what you think people want you to be. They'll either take you or they'll leave you, and there's lots of people out there that will take it. Test the viability of your project. It doesn't matter what it is. Always start with a paper plan, have your business plan done. I know everybody's told you how important a business plan is. It really is. And it's not just for getting your financing. It's not just for getting investors on board. That business plan is important because that's a part of you. So by having that, it keeps you true to yourself. Every piece of your life, whether you think you have failed or not, you have learned. Therefore, every time something hasn't gone your way, it's a learning experience. We may not see that right away. It may seem as though we failed. We may feel as though we have failed. But all it is doing is pushing you closer to where you're supposed to be. There's always a way around. You just sometimes have to think outside of the box. You go over, you go under, you go around. You don't fail. You continue on. It's always a learning experience. The pandemic, it really forced me to reevaluate where I wanted my business to go. I wanted to reach a larger demographic. So by doing my business plan over again, I was able to really decide what I wanted. I decided to have some of my more popular items developed into baking mixes. So we started with our bannock mix, which is already available. And we have a vanilla and chocolate cake mix that are up next. And they are based off of the actual recipes we use in-house. I was able to pick every single detail of this place and put my mark on it with my own two hands. It's part of how I gained some of my confidence before we even opened our door, by being able to not only put my touch on this place, but I also had my children make paintings. I had my nieces and nephews make paintings, because it was very important to me to have this as a family atmosphere. So I wanted to make sure they all felt like this was a family place, that everyone was part of it. The other thing that I am really proud of is my mural that we had made. Natalie Sapier of the Tobic First Nations did it for me, and she blended my culture as well as the culture from here. Being able to reach out to an organization like IWE gave me an opportunity that I wouldn't be able to have through a traditional banking system. They played an instrumental part in this. If it wasn't for them, we would not be open today. They helped me with financing, which was a huge problem. I didn't have the means to start this on my own. Thanks to IWE, I was actually able to get into their marketing program that they had last year. So it was open to Indigenous entrepreneurs who were already clients. And what they basically did was gave us the opportunity to take marketing courses, so we were actually self-sufficient in that area. We plan on milling our own flour, so we can ensure that our flour has that nutritional value of being stone ground. So by having the flour mill in-house, we would then be allowed to sell our own flour, use our flour to create our baking mixes, as well as all of the items that we create in-house. We really want to see our business grow in a direction that we can have that food production side, but we also hope to eventually open up shops in other locations. So I hope one day you will see Jenna's Nut-Free Dessertery in many different locations throughout Canada, at the very least, where we will mill and create those products with the local wheat from that particular province. I went to school for accounting and computer science, but it wasn't my passion. It was the so-called smart choice. And so many of us take that smart choice versus following our dreams and our passion. And then we just end up living a life that we, again, are not being true to ourselves. And I really think if we want to thrive in this world, we have to be true to who we are and what we want to see in the world, right? And it's kind of like the golden rule. You treat others the way you want to be treated. Well, you should also treat yourself the way you want to be treated.